Good evening, or good morning, or good night to everybody watching. This is Casualities, and my name is Miles Williams, and this is my co host, Jeffrey Duncan. And we are here to talk to you guys about stuff and things that may or may not pertain to politics, but not the politics that you're thinking of. We're going to talk about the interesting stuff that the news doesn't cover. And no, that doesn't include conspiracy theories, although those might come up in a special. But yeah, this is the Casualities podcast. Thanks for joining.
Yes, Miles, we'll be covering the fun stuff in politics. I'll be talking more about like the policy and getting into the details about how things affect the world and just talking in a long expose format about how certain things going on in the world impact us, and also just going over the details because the media tends to do a lot of headline sensationalism and it does not actually get into the details.
Yep, and I will be the audience's insert, so I will know absolutely nothing about what he's talking about, and I'll be asking a bunch of questions, whether actual beneficial questions or dumb questions, like who are we talking about again?
I appreciate your inspiration. Ready to go. So basically, me and Miles had a conversation a few months back about like, let's start a podcast, but we don't want to do a podcast where it's just bros talking about their interests or whatever came across their minds that day. That tends to get boring and burned out really fast. But Miles sent a text that was kind of inspiring to me, and we have run with it ever since. You mind sharing a little bit more about that story?
I had sent him a text about, hey, let's start a podcast, and it was mainly a joke at the time. And he was like, what do we even talk about? And I said the financial status or circumstance or something financial related to the country of Botswana. I don't even know if that's a real place. It just came up to me, and it came to me in a dream, and I sent it to him as a text, and he was like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. I was like, really? And then now we're here.
Yes. So we have already recorded a few episodes. It is undetermined whether we're going to be able to post them. It's just going to really see if we're able to edit it because we've had a few people behind the scenes have to move around. We'll get to that in a second. But what essentially happened was when he texted me that, I was like, you know what, let's talk about some stuff going on in the world that a lot of people don't know about. And the first thing that we wanted to record was we actually made an episode about Kenya. Whether that's posted or not, we'll see. But we were going to try and edit that. And that really inspired me to say, like, why don't we talk about the events going on in the world that not a whole lot of people know about? And then I was thinking about it, and I was listening to a B.O.B. song, and Morgan Freeman was giving a short little narration about just how some pointless stuff in life, how some things feel meaningless when there's bigger things going on behind the scenes, and use the word casualities. And in my mind, that's thinking about how we as casual people may not realize some of the things that are impacting us, but we are also the casualties of those things and not realizing that it is having an impact on our lives. And it is something that we should have some sort of opinion or at least understanding of. So that's what we really are trying to do, is combine the very informal, very casual side of podcasting, the Joe Rogan interviews, a lot of the younger interviews that Gen Z and whatnot do, and combine it with some of the more hard-hitting factual stuff that you would see a lot on YouTube in the educational sphere, and try to bridge that gap where we have a long podcast talking about an event, giving a lot of details and how that impacts people. At the very end, giving analysis, but we're going to be giving a lot of details leading up to it, and just really trying to be able to build a story around it so people have a better understanding of that. So I personally have taken on the responsibility of researching and doing a lot of the actual creation of the presentation and whatnot for the material and the content. Miles, as you said, he's going to be self-insert. Do you want to describe a little bit more about what your goals are within the podcast?
It's to better understand what's being said and to ask questions in order to kind of, and what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of act as like a surrogate for the audience. So the audience can't ask you the questions unless we're live streaming. So I will be the one asking the questions in their stead. I don't know if I'm good at it yet, but we'll find out.
Again, we will have several guests on that we know personally. If we're able to grow large enough, we'll have more well-known and more technical guests on. That's a goal where we want to get. And eventually, we actually want to do other shows outside of just the current happenings in the world. I'll call this casualty happenings. I want to get into history, and I want to get into finance and entertainment, things like that. But we're right now going to start with the happenings in the world now, and also bringing on some few other people. We are going to have today as our fact finder our friend Coin. Can you say hi, Coin?
There's no way for him to.
Hello.
Why would you say it like that?
That's exactly the kind of feeling I need from Coin.
Oh my god.
Coin is a good friend of ours. He's going to kind of be my quasi fact checker. I might have him Google a few things if necessary. But he will be there. There also may be another person named Justin that will be in as well. We might have a few other guests with a good friend of both of ours named Nick, maybe someone named Taylor who wants to be able to be involved as well. But this is currently the team that we have to be able to put this together. And we also have our editor behind the scene named Alex, and he's going to be very prominent as well. So that is something that I'm really looking forward to. I feel like I'm cutting in and out. Is it because I'm moving too far away from the microphone? All right, amen. So yeah, with that, we're going to acknowledge our biases at the beginning of episodes and talk about things like that. But this is really just the first intro episode in episode 0 to really talk about what we do and being able to have people look at this first before they go into an episode. It's going to be our title page on a YouTube channel. And it's also going to be the first one to pop up in the podcasting recommendations if you don't have it on recents. So that is essentially what the Casuality podcast is. And I hope you are able to select one of the videos or podcasts and are able to enjoy what we talk about.